Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your SmackDown 205 Live results for May 28, 2018. Birthdays for May 28. Kamala, who was born 1950. Chaz, 1971. Seth Rollins, born 1986. Joseph Connors, 1987. On the 29th, Pete Gas, he was born 1970. Spice, from the Nitro Girls, she was born 1973. The Brian Kendrick, he was born 1979. Nia Jax was born 1984 on the 29th. And Hornswoggle, he was born 1986. Jake the Snake Roberts was born 1955 on May 30th. No, wait, Jose, he was born on May 30th, 1988. And rounding out the month of May, Montez Ford, on the 31st, he was born in 1990. Well, WWE posted a video here, this link, of various Shelton Benjamin highlights from Money in the Bank ladder matches. Benjamin will not be working this Money in the Bank at the June 17th pay-per-view. Also noted that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon revealed on Twitter this week that they filmed for the special WWE edition of Carpool Karaoke that will premiere on Apple TV this summer. The WWE website revealed that they sang How Far I'll Go from the Moana soundtrack. BuzzFeed posted this video link of John Cena going on a first date with fans, according to the video. WWE posted the following to hype the tag team title battle royal that will take place in Monday's Raw with the B Team and others. The winners will become the new number one contenders and will go on to face World Tag Team Champions Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy at Money in the Bank, who will be the next to challenge the Deleters of Worlds. After the B-Team's barbecue devolved into a coleslaw slinging melee, the frustrated duo approached Raw General Manager Kurt Angle to demand a Raw Tag Team Championship opportunity against Woken, Matt Hardy, and Bray Wyatt. However, on the Red brand, opportunities are earned. So on Raw in Houston, Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas will be among the participants of the Tag Team Battle Royal, in which the last team standing will be next in line to challenge Hardy and Wyatt for their titles. Regardless of what you think of them, B-Team have impressed in ring recently. Could the B-Team and B-Team actually stand for best when this match is over? Wait and see. Don't miss any of the action on Monday Night Raw, live 8 Eastern Time, 7 Central, on USA Network. Also noted, Elias versus Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins is now official for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. The two Raw superstars had the following exchange on Twitter right before WWE confirmed the match. Seth Rollins and WWE Rollins, broken guitars don't get the last word. If Elias wanted to come for the man, he's got a mouthful of canvas coming to him. Hashtag fighting champion. Hashtag MITB. Elias comments at I am Elias WWE. Give me a mouthful of canvas, I'll spit out a masterpiece. I'm coming for the man. I'm coming for the title. Hashtag MITB. Seth Rollins comes back. WWE Rollins. Expect your receipt in stereo. Hashtag IC title on the line at hashtag MITB. You got it. Hashtag burn it down. Former UFC title challenger and Olympic gold medalist Sarah McMahon announced on Instagram recently that she is pregnant. The 37-year-old noted that she was headed to the sidelines with shoulder injuries, so the decision was an easy one for the mother of one. Rinku Singh made his WWE NXT in-ring debut at Thursday's live event in Tampa, Florida. His signing was confirmed back in January. Singh lost to Cassius Ohno in the opening match. Singh is former Pittsburgh Pirates MLB pitcher and was the subject of Disney's $1 Million Arm film. And here's some photos of that by link on Twitter. And the match also along with congratulatory message from WWE coach Steve Corino. CBS Philadelphia reports that police are investigating an apparent murder-suicide in Chester County, Pennsylvania, after a man and woman were found dead in their home this morning. The man has been identified by people in the wrestling business as 52-year-old Chuck Williams, better known as on the indie scene as Rockin' Rebel. PW Insider also confirmed that Rebel has passed. My apologies for any inconveniences, as I had to report on Rebel's passing, and my condolences go to the family. And there was a video on this link. Rebel is a Northeast indie wrestling veteran and is called a Northeast legend by some. He is best known for his work with CZW and ECW. Rebel, who was inducted into the Mid-Pen Wrestling Alliance Hall of Fame in 2015, was trained by WWE Hall of Famers, the Rock and Roll Express, and made his pro wrestling debut back in 1988. Still, no official word on the details of the incident or who the perpetrator was. Regarding social media reports on who committed the murder, it should be noted that the police have not revealed those details as of the video. PW Insider notes that the people in the wrestling world are saying Rebel was responsible, but one Twitter user close to a Westchester police officer claimed the wife was responsible. Again, any reports on who is responsible for the incident should be taken as unconfirmed until authorities release their findings. CBS reports that the police were called to a home near Isabel Lane and North 5 Points Road just after 6:30 a.m. that morning, and that's where they found the man and woman both dead in the living room. Family members called 911 after finding the bodies. The incident remains under investigation, but the preliminary investigation points to a murder-suicide. Police said that there are no outstanding suspects and no danger to the public. ABC Philadelphia spoke to one neighbor who told them that the family was quiet and kept to themselves. The neighbor noted that the couple rarely went outside and that the police had been called to the home several times. She also said that she often saw kids playing in the backyard. There were always problems over there. The police were there a lot, neighbor Stephanie Seipel said. And I'll keep you updated if more news comes along or the families release more information. Rebel was active on Facebook until yesterday. And here's a few of his posts from the past week, along with a recent family photo. Rockin' Rebel. About 2 weeks ago, wake up every day and smile. It's a new day and a fresh start. Rockin' Rebel a week ago. Alcohol is not a sleep aid. Just I can't remember for a short time. On Monday, taking 5 minutes out of your day to tell or show your other half you love them means the world to them. On Tuesday, days of spending time with the ones who loved you and you love them are far and few. Make them count. And on Wednesday, he posted, a little love goes a long way. Link to the picture of him and his family, last one taken before they died, at this link. Former WWE superstar Kristal Marshall recently spoke with former WWE security head Jimmy Noonan on the Noonan Speaks podcast. During the show, Marshall discussed her relationship with WWE superstar Bobby Lashley, being bitter about the WWE departure and whether she has heat with WWE. On the subject of Marshall's relationship with Lashley, the former NPC USA bodybuilding champion recalled that it began in 2007 and it happened quickly. That relationship came about. Let's see. At the beginning of 2007, Marshall considered, I'd say about that happened at WrestleMania 2007. That's when we started dating, and that happened quick. Lots of things happened quickly at that time. Apparently, Marshall never married Lashley, but they were engaged and have 2 children together by the names of Miles and Naomi. not the WWE superstar. But there you go. I have never been married in all my adult life, Marshall elaborated. My name is Kristal Marshall. It has always been Kristal Marshall. I have never been married. We were engaged. We had a very long engagement. We had two kids together, but there was no wedding. That didn't happen, and I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing. It just didn't happen. Prior to becoming involved with Walking Armageddon, Marshall briefly dated Matt Striker. True believers. I did date Matt Striker for a brief period of time when I was wrestling. Marshall continued, it's kind of impossible to not date someone you work with unless you're married outside of the business and all of that. That's impossible. That's kind of how you figure out things, and then you leave wrestling business and you look back to the wrestling business and say, what the F, what was that? What was weird? What was I doing? Yeah, that did happen. Marshall then admitted that she used to be bitter about her WWE departure and likened the pro wrestling business to a giant dysfunctional family. There was a time when, like I said, I was super bitter, very upset, Marshall professed. I felt like when I left, there were a lot of things that I set out to accomplish that I didn't. There was a point where I felt like certain girls got more opportunities and boo-hoo-hoo, this and that. But do you know what? Like I said, I've done a lot of work on myself, and there are a lot of effing things that can be really happy for. And there are a lot of crappy things that happen in the business. But nothing is perfect. The wrestling business is one giant dysfunctional family, and there's like one cousin you can't take anywhere, like a drunk uncle. There's your slutty cousin. There's somebody that fits every dynamic of a family. But the one thing that's very interesting about wrestling, and much as everybody hates it, everybody did hate it or had mixed feelings about it. If you ask anybody if they had good moments in wrestling, they will always say yes. And they will always smile if you ask them. What was the best part of your pro wrestling career? There will always be something positive. Although Marshall had a difficult time following her breakup with Lashley, she has done a lot of work on herself through meditation and gratitude. Marshall explained that the inner dimension must be addressed to truly lead a life free of depression and anxiety. Yeah, when I went through some difficult times, for sure. The hard thing about pro wrestling is that you think it's going to last forever, and you feel like the high that you get when you're interacting with the fans. Being the celebrity, all of that, there's a certain level of arrogance that I feel like are carried outside of the business into real life, and it doesn't translate well. As Marshall continued, life happens. Bobby and I were together. We had kids. After we split, I found myself trying to figure out, what am I going to do? What's next for me? So, I started working some corporate jobs, and things never really stuck. Eventually, I went to cosmetology school and got my license to do hair and makeup. Thank God for that. It allowed me to be creative and do a version of what I love doing, which is art and painting, which has kind of been able to carry me over to this place where I'm at now. I know there are probably a lot of wrestling fans out there that assume once you stop wrestling, you're loaded and that you're going to live comfortable. There are a lot of wrestlers that probably feel that way as well, but that's just not life. And it was such a beautifully humbling experience as well. It was really effed up. As she said, I got super depressed. I've been battling depression and anxiety truly ever since I left the wrestling business, and I can tell you that there is no medication that can fix depression, anxiety. That's an internal job, meditation, which is still very new for me. It's an ongoing practice. It has helped tremendously, and gratitude. That's what I've been talking about tonight. Like nothing's perfect, yes, but look at the positive. Gratitude has helped me immensely. The Kristal airs about racism in WWE and also TNA rumors. According to Marshall, she did not have heat with WWE. She also suggested that things have changed since he was with the company. I really wish I could really talk about that. It's just a sensitive time, Marshall said. I really can't right now. But what I heard, things are different now. The current plan for WWE Universal Champion Brock Lesnar is for his next title defense to be on August 19th at SummerSlam pay-per-view in Brooklyn. According to Wrestling Observer newsletter, Lesnar is set to headline that show. Although that could always change, no word yet on who his opponent will be. Regarding a potential UFC return by Lesnar, he will almost certainly be staying with WWE unless he applies to be put back into the USADA testing pool for UFC by June the 30th. If he is headed back to the Octagon, a fight at the UFC New Year's weekend event is likely. But stay tuned for anything more. Does WWE have plans for Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar? With Lesnar not working the July 15th Extreme Rules pay-per-view in Pittsburgh, it looks like the top Raw match will be the six-man match at the PPG Paint Arena. Has Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Jinder Mahal advertised. And that's July 15th. With that boot, actually without, and they're facing Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Jinder Mahal. With that bout, it would appear that WWE Championship match will headline the show. By the way, that was also advertised for June 10th, live event from Boulder City, Louisiana. Other matches advertised for Extreme Rules are Daniel Bryan versus Samoa Joe, plus appearances by AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins, U.S. Champion Jeff Hardy, Finn Balor, New Day, SmackDown Women's Champion Carmella, Raw Women's Champion Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks, and Asuka. In addition to Lesnar, John Cena, and Ronda Rousey are not advertised for Extreme Rules. Street Fighter V Arcade Edition is due out on June 26th, and Kenny Omega will be playing as a live-action actor of one of the characters in the game. Cody, the new mayor of Metro City. That's his character. In the video, here you can see Omega involved as a part of the video game's promotion and what his character is like in the game. On Twitter, Omega commented on the role that he kept very close to the chest. And here's his comments on Twitter at Kenny Omega Man X. A little something I worked on in secrecy. A proud moment to assume the role of my favorite Street Fighter fighter. Thanks to Capcom Fighters and all of the kind staff I met on set. You're all great. Well, I never met the guy on the phone, but I'm sure you're swell. And that can be found at that link there for you. The other one's a YouTube link. Wrestling fans have been making jokes about Omega playing this character due to the name and somewhat similar resemblance to Cody Rhodes. It should be noted that Cody in Street Fighter has been a playable character since the 90s. And Kenny admits NJPW didn't come to Long Beach with a loaded card. Talks running upcoming NJPW show. Video games aside, Omega is getting prepared for his upcoming match against IWGP Heavyweight Champion Kazuchika Okada at NJPW Dominion on June 9th. Look back to their trilogy. Okada defeated Omega at Wrestle Kingdom 11. They went to a 60-minute draw at last year's Dominion, and Omega defeated Okada at last year's G1 Climax Tournament. John Cena was at MegaCon Convention this past weekend in Orlando and conducted a Q&A question and answer with fans. Can be found in this link. During the session, Cena spoke about NXT and stated that he would love to appear on a future NXT show. I've been around the superstars of Raw and SmackDown for a long time, Cena said. I recently visited the Performance Center and spoke with NXT superstars for around 6 hours answering questions in a forum such as this. I was so inspired by how hard they work and how hungry they are that it made me want to perform with them. So I hope to one day perform at an NXT show. Cena has recently been trading barbs on social media with former TNA World Heavyweight Champion EC3, who was in NXT at the current time. And he's been in WWE since January. EC3 recently told WWE.com that he wants to face Cena and vanquish him at WrestleMania. Cena seemed to welcome that match and said that he was at the top of the list of wrestlers that he wanted to face. That list is quite long, but there is a fella who just arrived, and his name is EC3. Cena stated, I put him at the top of the list because he has been involved with WWE before. And he is now back, reinvigorated, revitalized, and in good shape, and is feeling confident about himself. He made one mistake. He said that he is going to finish me and take me out of WWE. There's been so many people say that, so I would like to have a match with EC3 just to let him know that no matter how good he thinks he is going to do and how hard he tries, he is not on the same planetary scale as me. Kevin Owens giving props to the Velveteen Dream. Also, Cena has strong praise for Velveteen Dream as well. When asked if he would prefer facing Dream, Ricochet, or Adam Cole, Cena noted that he has a great feeling about Dream. My answer is going to upset some people, but I would rather face Velveteen Dream, Cena admitted. You know, in those Star Wars movies with a Jedi, it says something like, I think that is the one. I got that odd, mental, and great feeling about Velveteen Dream. As WWE posted the video that I gave you the link for about Cena's comment, and Dream responded on Twitter. Whenever he wants, the Dream is here. The Dream is here. Remember Cena's gimmick? The champ is here. And whenever he wants, the Dream is here. The Dream. The Dream is here. And that can be found on this link. Dream, sir, at Velveteen WWE on June the 2nd, 2018, is currently feuding with Ricochet and will meet at NXT TakeOver Chicago 2 on June 16th at the Allstate Arena. Top Japanese women's star Io Shirai confirmed in a blog post on Tuesday that she will be finishing up with Stardom on June 17th. And I can be found on this link. I'm going to leave Stardom for the next step in my pro wrestling career. The post read, after being translated, my last match with Stardom will be on June 17th at Korakuen Hall. As Tokyo Sports first reported this week that Shirai will be headed to WWE following the Korakuen Hall show. Shirai has attended a WWE tryout last spring and was offered a deal. However, it was pulled after she failed her medicals. She then returned to Stardom last July and won the Wonder of Stardom Championship for the second time in November. Shirai dropped the title last week to Momo Watanabe. Well, I'll give you 205 live results first. They recap of Buddy Murphy attacking Cedric Alexander a few weeks back. Murphy talked about the things that he's gone through, training and cutting weight, to get to tonight's championship match. You found it out late. Vic Joseph, Nigel McGuinness, and Percy Watson welcome us to the show and talk a bit more about tonight's championship match. We see Alexander looking at his title back in the locker room while Murphy gets his hands taped up. Drew Gulak joined the commentary and asked his predictions on tonight's main event. He says whoever has the best ground-based strategy will win tonight's championship match. For Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher versus Kalisto and Les Dorado. Action can be found in that link. Kendrick landed a couple strikes, but Dorado took him down with a drop kick and brings in Kalisto. Kalisto with a pop-up to his partner's shoulders and slashes down on Kendrick. Covers for a 2 count. Dorado then brought back in and double axe handle off the top rope. Gallagher makes his way in, but he gets taken down by high-flying Kalisto. Hurricanrana, Tornado DDT. No, Kendrick gets the blind tag. He sneaks in behind Kalisto and whacks him in the back of the head. Gulak hands some pamphlets to commentary and tries to talk about how he can make it better 205 live. Got her working over Kalisto's arm, drops him face first. Pin for a 2 count. Kalisto then gets tossed over the top rope. Kendrick with a big boot, covers for a 2 count. Glock is really annoyed by the noise makers. Kendrick gets dumped up and over to the floor. Kalisto is able to tag out. Dorado with a crossbody to Kendrick. Couple chops. Hurricane Dorado off the second rope. Covers for 2. Glock leaves commentary and trips Dorado off the top rope while the referee was ejected by Gallagher. Kendrick locks in and catches hook and Dorado taps out. Winners of the match, Gallagher and the Brian Kendrick by pinfall. After match, Glock shakes hand with Kendrick and Gallagher. Last week, we took a look back at Hideo Itami defeating Akira Tozawa. Predictions from the cruiserweight. About tonight's match, Mustafa Ali says Murphy is the hardest hitting cruiserweight, but he's not taking the title from Alexander. It's going to be him. Tony Nese calls Murphy unstoppable and a better athlete. He's going with Murphy, and that can be found in that link. Backstage segment with Dasha Pentes talking with Jake Maverick, and asks his thoughts about tonight's main event. Maverick says everyone will be on the edge of their seats tonight. Dasha says maybe not everyone, like TJP, who wouldn't mind going to SmackDown. Maverick says people should prove their worth in the ring, not on social media. Maverick then hypes up the championship match some more, calls it a big fight feel. Commentary noting Alexander is wrestling in front of your friends and family tonight. His hometown crowd. Cedric versus Buddy Murphy for the Cruiserweight Championship. Lots of reversals early on, couple of pin attempts, both 1 counts. Stalemate finishes off the first sequence, and Alexander says, "This is my house." Have we heard that before from Paige? Crow with an arm, with an Alexander chant. Alexander then gets a bit of a roll, sends Murphy to the floor. Alexander looks to fly, puts on the brakes as Murphy gets back in the ring. Alexander with more taunting, dodges Murphy, attempts to lock up and catches him with a drop kick. Can be found in this link. Murphy on the floor now. Alexander with a drop kick through the ropes that stuns him. Alexander with a suicide dive that sends Murphy over the announce table. Alexander on the table, but gets tripped up. Murphy with a side suplex on the apron and launches his opponent into the barricade. Action back in the ring now. Murphy with some soccer kicks and sends him into the corner a few times. Murphy continues to focus on the back with a couple of more kicks. He goes one too many times to the well and catches a few uppercuts. Spinning heel kick by Alexander, who is selling the back injury now. He heads to the apron, tries for a springboard, and gets caught with a kick in midair. Covers 2 count. Alexander down in the corner. Murphy with double knees to the back. Goes for another, and then a super kick, catches him. Back and forth, forearms. Big elbow lands by Alexander. Murphy out to the floor for a breather, and Alexander with a huge flip over the top, taking Murphy out. Quickly tosses the challenge back in. Springboard, clothesline, covers for a 2 count. Compared to what we usually see on this show, the crowd has been really into this one. Alexander gets dumped out to the floor. Murphy with his own flip over the top rope. He tosses Alexander back in. Murphy up top, rolls through. Alexander plants Murphy, covers for a 2 count. And that can be found on this link. Comments on Twitter by Total Diva Sets and Cedric Alexander takes flight. Both guys landing some big strikes. Murphy with a running suplex, covers for a 2 count. Out on the apron now. Murphy looks for a suplex. No, Alexander ends up in the ring and lands a kick to the head. Alexander leaps over the top rope and hits a flatliner on the apron. Referee with a 10 count on both, and both jump back in at 9. Clubbing blows from both guys. Murphy gets Alexander up on shoulders, flipping DDT, covered for a 2 count. Action at that link. Another comment on Twitter by Total Diva Sets at Cedric Alexander flattens Murphy. And also that link, a little video link. Ball swing wildly. Murphy with a kicking combo. Alexander dodges and lands a big strike. Murphy returns fire with a knee to the face, pin for a 2 count. This is awesome. Chant for the crowd. Power bomb by Murphy, covers for a 2 count. Knee to the jaw, covers for a 2. Murphy shows some frustration. Handspring kick twice. Lumbar check, cover. And that'll do it. Great match. Winner of the match, Cedric Alexander. And that concludes 205 Live Results. SmackDown opens up live from the PNC Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina. Tom Phillips walked with us. He's joined in by Corey Graves and Byron Sexton. They hyped tonight's show. Miz and the Bar versus New Day. Lana versus Naomi in a dance-off. Samoa Joe versus Daniel Bryan in the final Money in the Bank qualifying match. We go right to the ring, and out comes Samoa Joe. Joe pulls a ladder from under the ring and brings it in as the fans pop. We see the Money in the Bank briefcases hanging high above the ring. Joe climbs the ladder and retrieves one of the briefcases. Joe comes back down and asks for a mic. Joe talks about how the ladder relates to biblical terms and says his version is very different. There is no salvation. There are no smiling angels. But after Money in the Bank, he will be smiling just like he is now. Joe raises the briefcase as some fans boo. Joe says he will unleash a campaign of anxiety and fear on SmackDown and the WWE Champion. One that will shake the foundation to its core. Joe says he will prove to our beloved Daniel Bryan tonight that there are things far worse than forced retirement. Joe brings up Bryan's family and says he will be home with them for Money in the Bank, but he won't be the same man. He will be drenched in failure and missed opportunity. Bryan interrupts with a mic, but with no entrance music. Bryan says there are some lines you just don't cross. Bryan heads to the ring and says he will break Joe's leg if he brings up his wife or his daughter one more time. Bryan says they don't have to wait. They can fight right now. Bryan heads into the ring as Joe moves the ladder to the corner and fans do the yes chant. The music interrupts and out comes Big Cass before they can start fighting. Cass is limping out with one crutch. Fans boo him as he takes the mic and then hobbles down the ramp in a suit. Cass asks if they are a bunch of children on a playground, mocking them both. Cass calls them the shrimp and the blimp and says that the Money in the Bank shot should be his. Cass says this second chance crap has got to stop, and it will. Cass says he spoke to SmackDown General Manager Paige, and Joe versus Bryan will not happen tonight. Fans really boo Cass now as he makes his way to the ring and reveals that Joe versus Cass will happen for this final Money in the Bank spot when he is cleared. Cass asks when he will be cleared and reveals that he is already cleared. He swings the clutch and Bryan backs him into the corner and unloads and the yes Borgasm chants pick up. Cass launches Bryan into the ladder in the corner and he goes down. Cass drops Joe with a briefcase shot. Next is Bryan also eats a briefcase shot. Cass raises the briefcase and is all smiles as the boss. The boos continue. Cass stands tall with the briefcase as his music hits. Joe is down on the outside while Bryan is laid out in the ring. That actually can be seen that link for you. We see Shinsuke Nakamura backstage walking. He has signs that are numbered 1 to 10. He gets the 10 sign and rips it up. Nakamura versus Ty Dillinger will take place tonight. We go to commercial. Back from the commercial, and we see what happened. What Big Cass just did to Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe. SmackDown General Manager Paige is backstage with a staffer telling him to keep her informed of any issues. Paige runs into Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose next. They wonder if the pressure is why she's making so many mistakes as of late, like giving title shots to wrong people. They make the case for why Asuka shouldn't get the SmackDown Women's title shot against Carmella at Money in the Bank. Paige makes Asuka versus Rose tonight and walks off. Renee Young stops Paige for comments next and asks if Cass was telling the truth about tonight's main event being Cass versus Joe instead of Bryan versus Joe. Paige didn't know Joe was going to hijack the show and that Cass was going to speak for her because no one speaks for her. Paige says Cass has been cleared, but Bryan did beat Jeff Hardy last week to earn tonight's opportunity. She makes Bryan versus Joe versus Cass for the main event and walks off. Next match, we get Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ty Dillinger, already in the ring as Shinsuke made his way out. They're hyping Nakamura versus AJ Styles at Money in the Bank. Ty Dillinger was out next. They met in the middle of the ring for some words and shoves. Nakamura takes control, but Ty chops him down, and after ducking a kick, Ty takes it to the corner for a big chop. Ty mounts Nakamura in the corner and rocks him as the fans count along. Nakamura goes to the floor for a breather, but Ty follows. Nakamura turns around and strikes on the floor. Nakamura brings him back in the ring, but Ty drop kicks him off the apron into the barrier. Ty then rolls the ropes for a dive, but Nakamura meets him at the ropes with a knee. Dillinger lands on the floor. Back to commercial. Back for the break. Ty connects with a jawbreaker, but Nakamura comes right back and puts him down again. Nakamura plays to the crowd, tells the referee to count while Dillinger is down. As they would in the last man standing match, Ty gets up and fights back, but Nakamura keeps control with strikes and puts him back down with a kick. Nakamura counts again, and the crowd counts with him. Ty makes it back up, but Nakamura works him over in the corner with knees. Nakamura positions Ty over the top turnbuckle and charges in with a big knee to the ribs. Nakamura counts again. Dillinger makes it back up before Nakamura 10 count again. Ty taunts Nakamura and ducks when he charges at him. Ty knocks Nakamura and goes to work on him. Nakamura with another knee and a kick. Ty comes right back with a clothesline. Ty keeps control until Nakamura delivers a shot from the apron. Nakamura then goes to the second rope and does a flying knee to the chin. Nakamura readies for the Kasasha and nails it, covering for the pinfall. After the match, Nakamura stands tall as the music hits. We go to replays. Nakamura drops Ty with a shot to the back of the neck. Nakamura takes the mic and starts counting once again. He makes it to 10, and Dillinger is still down. Nakamura stands tall as the music hits, mocking the event for Money in the Bank that it is his last man standing. And that action can be seen there for you. Dr. Fuentes backstage with AJ Styles asking about what just happened to Dillinger and the last man standing stipulation. AJ hasn't forgotten what Nakamura did last week. Something snapped in Nakamura at some point, and he's not sure what it was, but Nakamura is now more dangerous than he has been. AJ says that the stipulation favors Nakamura as a striker, but once again his challenger is underestimating him. AJ says he fights harder and smarter than the guy who is clearly bigger and stronger than him. AJ goes on and says Nakamura will try to tear down everything he's built at Money in the Bank, but when it's all said and done, the last man standing will be the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. And that can be found in that link. Rusev Day backstage with Lana trying to show her some dance moves. We go back to commercial. We go to the ring. Greg Hamilton introduces Rusev and Aiden English. They come out to the stage and English sings or raps at the introduction for Lana. Rusev finishes with the Lana is the best. Lana is number one. Tune as Lana makes her way out for this dance-off. Naomi was out next. She stops on the ramp and brings out some backup, the Usos. Naomi heads to the ring as both sides face off. Hamilton announces the rules for the dance contest. Lana is up first, and she gets a pop. Naomi is next, and sounds like her pop is louder. They dance together next, and they hug, but Lana turns on Naomi and drops her. Things fell apart now. Segment ends when the Usos super kicking Rusev Day out of the ring before Naomi drops Lana with a rear view as she charges in. Naomi's music hits, and that's the end of the segment. And can be found in that link as well. Still to come segment, Brian versus Joe versus Cass for the Money in the Bank final spot. We'll see the New Day backstage pulling shenanigans with a platter of pancakes. Miz and the Bar shown in the dressing room practicing against pancakes. The Bar and the Miz versus the New Day will take place tonight. Back to commercial. Bar and the Miz versus the New Day was up next. Back for the break. Out comes New Day for the 6-man action. Miz was out next, followed by the Bar. The Miz looks to start off with Big E. Big E dances around and stares Miz down before they can lock up. Miz immediately tags in Cesaro. Cesaro gets tossed overhead by Big E for a 2 count. Xavier and Kofi are in next for some double teaming. Kofi splashes Cesaro on the mat for a 2 count as the legal man. Cesaro rocks Kofi in the corner, and in comes Sheamus. Kofi tries to fight them off, but they distract the referee. allowing Miz to launch Kobe from the ring to the floor. Woods checks on Kobe at ringside as we go back to commercial. Back for the break, and Sheamus keeps Kobe grounded as Big E and Woods try to rally the crowd for him. Kobe fights up and out, but Sheamus rams him back in the corner. Cesaro tags in and delivers a big running uppercut for a 2 count. Sheamus comes in off of another quick tag. Sheamus drops Woods off the apron with a cheap shot. The Bar double teams Kobe as Cesaro tags in and down off the second rope. Kobe kicks out at 2 as Cesaro argues with the referee. Kobe tries to call to Big E for a tag, but Cesaro stops him. Cesaro misses a running uppercut in the corner and lands on the floor as Kobe moves out of the way. Miz also ends up on the floor after missing a shot. Miz grabs Big E's foot, but stops as Big E catches him. Big E comes to the floor and decks Sheamus as he approaches. Miz baits Big E in for a cheap shot on the floor. Miz and Sheamus launch Big E into the barrier now as he lands hard. Kobe with a 2 count on Cesaro in the middle of the ring. Sheamus with another cheap shot and then another 2 count by Cesaro. Miz checks back in and waits for Kobe to get to his feet. Kobe blocks the skull crusher finale and drops Miz for the SOS with the SOS. Kobe finally tags Woods in for a hot tag. Woods unloads to drop his opponents off the apron and then unloads on Sheamus. Miz runs in, but Woods kicks him in the face. Sheamus runs into the ring post as Woods moves out of the corner. Woods goes flying out to the floor and takes Cesaro out for a pop. Woods returns to the ring, plants Sheamus with a big DDT for a close 2 count. Fan chant for the New Day as Woods goes up top. Miz distracts him, allowing Sheamus to nail him while on the top turnbuckle. Kobe takes out Miz on the floor, but Cesaro takes out Kobe. The Bar hits a double team on Woods, and Cesaro covers for a close 2 count. Woods blocks the neutralizer and tags in Big E. Big E nails Cesaro and double teams him with Woods, but Cesaro kicks out at 2. Big E can't believe it. Big E claps and waits for Cesaro to get up. It's a fan chant. Cesaro blocks the Big E ending. Miz tags in, but Big E tries to spear Cesaro from the apron anyway. Cesaro kicks him. Miz drops Big E with a DDT for a close 2 count. Match falls apart now. Woods sends Sheamus to the floor, leaps out, but the Bar catches him and sends him into the barrier. Miz misses a shot on Kobe. Kobe leaps to the top turnbuckle and jumps out onto the floor, taking the Bar down. This leads to Big E hitting the big ending on Miz for the pinfall. After the match, New Day celebrating the ring as we go to replays. They point up at the Money in the Bank briefcase and do the hoo gimmick as everyone speculates on which member will go into the Money in the Bank ladder match. Then the action can be found that way. Renee Young backstage with Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, the Club, asking about their title shot from SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Bludgeon Brothers, at Money in the Bank. The Good Brothers talk about how they're in the best shape of their careers and ready for the titles. They admit that they have their work cut out for them, but they are confident that they will beat the Bludgeon Brothers at Money in the Bank. Like there are a couple of strange music starts playing as Rowan and Harper appear on the TV screen. They send an eerie warning to the Good Brothers and tell them to prepare for what's coming. So the come segment, Cass versus Bryan versus Joe in the main event. We see Asuka backstage getting ready for her match. Back to commercial. Mandy Rose versus Asuka. Back for the break. Out comes SmackDown's Women's Champion Carmella to join the announcers for commentary. Mandy Rose without next for the match. Asuka makes her way out next, but Sonya Deville blindsides her on the ramp and drops her as Rose watches from the ring. Asuka recovers and hits the ring, telling the referee she's ready to go. The bell rings and Rose attacks, taking Asuka to the corner and loading on her. Mandy keeps control and pulls Asuka out of the corner by her hair. Asuka tries to fight back, but Rose turns her inside out and drops her face first for a close 2 count, and then another. Rose keeps Asuka grounded now. Asuka fights up and out, but Rose knees her in the gut. Rose with more offense and a big knee for another pin attempt. Rose stands tall and poses over Asuka as we go to commercial. Back from the break, Rose keeps control until Asuka drops her with a shot to the nose. Asuka makes a comeback and hits a hip attack in the corner. Asuka goes up top and nails a missile drop kick for a pop. Asuka gets a 2 count, charges with another hip attack. But Rose moves and Asuka gets stuck on the ropes. Rose with more offense until Asuka counters and rolls her up for a 2 count. Asuka then looks for the Asuka lock submission, but Rose counters her again. They trade holds on the mat again. Asuka rolls into the Asuka lock and Rose taps out for the finish. After the match, Carmella enters the ring and interrupts Asuka's celebration. They face off. Carmella raises the title in Asuka's face and stares her down. As the music hits, Carmella makes her exit and as Asuka looking on. We see Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch backstage watching. Flair believes Asuka will win the title at Money in the Bank. Flair can see it now. Asuka will win the title and she will win the briefcase. Setting the stage for WrestleMania 34 rematch. Becky disagrees and sees herself winning. She was fingertips away from winning the briefcase last year and nothing will stop her this year. Even Flair. Flair goes on about how this is hard because she wants Becky to win as well as Flair needs this. She needs her title back. They have some friendly words when Paige walks in. Paige loves competition. Paige, she says this reminds her of their team PCB. Paige tries to get in on tea time and walks off after an awkward exchange. Still to come segment, Cass versus Joe versus Bryan in the main event. Back to the commercial. Back for the break, something was announced for next Tuesday. A match for next Tuesday. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte. Plus mixed tag team match with Lana and Rusev Day versus Naomi and Usos. Cesaro approaches Andre Cien almost backstage and embraces him, which can be found in this link here for you. Zelina Vega walks up and she's not happy, asking who Cara is and why a nobody like him is talking to her client. She says Almas is the future of SmackDown. Cara asks Almas if she is serious, and Almas says something back to him in Spanish. Almas and Vega walk off as Cara watches. Money in Bank qualifying triple threat match, your main event. Big Cass versus Daniel Bryan versus Samoa Joe. We go to the ring for the main event. Big Cass, Samoa Joe are first out competitors. The final Money in the Bank qualifying match for June 17th pay-per-view. Daniel Bryan was the last one out, and the Borgasm just can't sort out for the crowd. Bell rings, and they unload on Cass in the corner. Taking turns on him, fans pop as Joe and Bryan both beat Cass down in the corner. Joe turns on Bryan and works him over, taking him back to the corner with strikes. Joe works Bryan over in the corner and chops him. Bryan counters the move and drop kicks Cass to the ropes, sending him into the barrier. Joe drops Bryan with a lariat. Joe runs the ropes and nails a big dive to the floor on Cass. Bryan goes up to the top turnbuckle and leaps out on to the floor, taking Cass and Joe down at the same time simultaneously. Commercial break. Back from the break. Cass is working Joe over. Joe turns around and drops Cass and kicks to the head of the corner. Joe goes for a killer touch on Cass, but Bryan breaks the pin attempt. Joe unloads on Bryan and hits a senton for a pin attempt. That Cass breaks up the pinfall. Cass goes to the floor for a breather. Cass ends up back in the ring, nailing, but Joe hits him with a strike. Joe takes it back to the corner, but Cass turns him right around. Cass wastes time, and his fans boo. Bryan comes in and unloads with the Borgasm. Yes, kicks in the corner to Cass. Cass drops him with ease. Cass then tosses Bryan out to the floor and follows. Cass launches Bryan over the announce table by his neck. Cass decks Bryan behind the table and turns his attention back to Joe in the ring. Cass runs into a boot in the corner. Joe goes up top, but here comes Bryan out of nowhere, dropping Joe to crotch him on the top. Bryan also takes Cass down in the corner and sends him to the floor. Following up with a baseball side into the barrier, Bryan climbs up top, and Joe decks him a few times. Bryan brings Joe to the mat with a big hurricane runner for a pop. Bryan gets hyped up now as the fans chant his name. Bryan with a running knee to Joe in the corner, then another. Bryan goes for a third knee, but Cass runs in and clotheslines him for a close 2 count. Fans boo as Cass takes control of Bryan in the ring. Bryan fights back, but Cass knees him in the gut. Cass stands tall over Bryan while Joe was downside on the outside. Back to commercial, back for the break, and Cass is going at it with Joe. Cass drops Joe and hits an Empire elbow for a 2 count as Bryan comes in. Cass unloads on Bryan and hits the East River crossing for another pin attempt. More back and forth between the three now. Bryan with a dragon screw leg whip on both opponents. Bryan stands tall as the fans cheer before he delivers the yes kicks to Cass and Joe. Bryan hits the big kicks to the head on both. Covers Cass for a close 2 count. Bryan whips Cass by the leg again. Joe comes from behind and applies a coquina clutch on Bryan. Dropping to the mat for a 2 count, Bryan sends Joe over the top to the floor. Bryan turns around, ducking a big boot from Cass. As Bryan tries to take Cass down for the yes lock and finally getting him to the mat. Cass resists, but Bryan gets it locked in just as Joe pulls Bryan out of the ring by his leg. Bryan leaps out off the apron and drops Joe on the floor with a knee to the face. Bryan slowly comes back in the ring and goes to the top. Bryan with a missile drop kick on Cass. Bryan starts getting hyped up. Bryan kicks up and starts to orgasm yes chance as the fans pop. Bryan with a big knee to Cass. Bryan covers for the win, but Joe stops it and applies a coquina clutch to Bryan. Bryan tries to get out as Joe yells at him. Bryan starts fading now as Joe tells him to give up. Referee calls for the bell as Bryan is passed out in the coquina clutch as Joe is going to Money in the Bank. Is in the Money in the Bank finals. After the match, Joe stands tall, has his arm raised, and as music hits, we go to replays. Joe makes his exit up the ramp, looking back at the ring to mock Daniel Bryan for going to sleep. Joe's music stops as Cass waits for Bryan to get up. Cass charges with a crazed look in his eye and floors Bryan with a big boot. Cass taunts Bryan and stands tall over him with his fists in the air as fans boo. Cass music starts up as he looks down at Bryan and SmackDown goes off the air. And that concludes my SmackDown and 205 live results. Thanks again to see what I'm doing. If you don't know, just comment, brothers and sisters.